Well, football has finally returned. We've watched the Euros, and now it's back to club football. The bread and butter. Why we watch football in the first place, supporting our clubs. The EFL came back last week. This week is the turn of the Premier League. And in this stream, we'll be looking ahead to Manchester United's 2021-2022 campaign. Will we finally get our hands on our 21st top flight trophy, 21st top flight league trophy? Will we win any trophies at all? Will Ole Gunnar Solskjaer still be in the job come the end of the season? All those questions will be answered and predicted on in this stream by me and also you guys, hopefully, in the live chat as well. But it's great to be back. It is great to be back doing stuff. I did do a Varane video about 3 weeks ago, and I haven't really been keeping up to the weekly uploads that were suggested in my channel name, really. So I want to get back to that. I'm sure as the games start coming, they come thick and fast. As soon as they start coming, I will be doing a lot more content on the channel. But it's good to be back doing stuff, and hopefully you enjoy it as well. But before I get into it, I'll get through all the mandatory stuff. Please, and if you aren't already, subscribe to the channel as well if you're new around here. We are edging very close to 900. You guys can do to help us out with that would be absolutely amazing. Sharing, commenting, all that good stuff would be absolutely fantastic. Only if you want to, of course. If you're doing that, but also if you're watching as a video on the replay, please do let me know your thoughts, and do enjoy reading all your comments, even if you're not in the live chat when we are live. Put your thoughts in the comments. Where are we going to finish this season? Who's going to be the standout performer? And all those questions that'll be the course of this stream. But it's good to be back. It's good to be back. Want to shout out everyone who's joined us already. Welcome Adam, thanks for joining, appreciate it, hope you're doing well. Welcome Rich as well, thanks for joining us on Rich's channel yesterday, previewing the Leeds United day with another Leeds fan as well. So I really would recommend you check that out on Rich Sports, of course. Checked out Rich's channel, which I'm sure you have, but if you haven't already, make sure you do check it out. Brilliant stuff over there. And Box, thanks for joining. Box, friend, always good to hear from you as well. And Owen's joined as well. It's only been a few weeks. It has only been a few weeks, but I don't know. I even though me saying to be back does sound like I've been away for a long time. I have been away for only a few weeks, but at this time, you know, it's one of those things. I just say it. But yeah, thanks for joining anyway. I might be having people on. And by the way, I do apologise if it is lagging a little bit. I don't know why that is. I think my my internet's not properly. Actually, I say my internet's fine, but I don't know. If it does, I apologise. I can't do much about that, unfortunately. But hopefully you can still hear me, and as long as you can still hear me, that's the main thing. That is a question on everyone's lips right now. If you go on social media, that's what a lot of United fans are talking about right now. Raphael Varane obviously hasn't been announced by the club yet. They announced that we had agreed a deal for Varane. We'd agreed the fee and everything, and apparently he has signed the contract. So there's nothing to be worried about. There really is nothing to be worried from my point of view. If he signed the contract, then he's a Manchester United player. It doesn't matter how many announcement videos you do. He's a Manchester United player. If he signs on that deadline, it's done and dusted. So as long as he's done that, as long as that is true that he's done that, then I'm happy with it. And he, Raphael Varane in a Man United shirt. But until we see it, I'm very happy that he has signed a contract. And, you know, hopefully, I don't think we'll see him against Leeds. I don't think we will, because he hasn't had any sort of match practice since leaving Real Madrid. He has probably trained a little bit, but he hasn't really had any of that match practice. So I don't think Ollie is going to throw him straight into the deep end against Leeds. But I'm sure we'll see him in our next Premier League game anyway. Let's see. Box says, will Varane be signed in time for the Leeds match? I don't think so. Box, to be honest with you. I think Ollie will... Well, no, I think he will be signed. He has signed for the club. He signed the contract, but I don't think he will be able to play in that Leeds United game. Maybe on paper he'll be registered before the deadline, if that's the question you mean. Yeah, probably he will be registered before the deadline, so he will be eligible for that game. but I just don't think Olly's going to pick him. I really, really don't. But we've got a few topics to go through. I have been a little bit more organised, and the first thing I want to do is just break down our stats from last season, and just to give us a bit of context so that when we are predicting this season, we can see where we can improve, where we might actually not improve if there is any of those areas. Hopefully there isn't, but I will be breaking down now what we did last season, where we finished, where we failed, where we succeeded, and then hopefully we can look at how we're going to improve that in this coming season. So let's get into that. Of course, the Premier League season, we'll start with the bread and butter, the Premier League. We finished second, which on paper, at the start of last season, I think a lot of United fans would have taken second place. Even though people wanted us to have a title challenge, I think if you said to people after we lost 6-1 to Spurs that we were going to finish second, they would have ripped your arm off. So we finished second, 74 points in the season. We finished quite a well way back from Man City, so really we had no title challenge whatsoever. But we did finish in second place, and being someone who's glass half full kind of guy, as I said, after that Spurs game, after being beat 6-1, if you told me we were going to finish in second place, I would have ripped your arm off. But we need to do better this season. 74 points. I fear, especially with the quality of the Premier League this season, 74 points might not be enough to get top four. It might not be enough to get top four, and we'll break that down in just a second. Obviously, in the Champions League, we don't really need to go into too much detail. Failed to even get a point against Leipzig on the last game. We went into the Europa League, got to the Europa League final, lost the final on penalties. We don't need to go in too much into those competitions. Carabao Cup, we got to the semi-final where once again we lost to Man City, and hopefully third time lucky we don't get Man City in the semi-final, because at that point it just seemed scripted. At that point it just seemed very, very fishy indeed. But that's what happened. We got to the semi-final. We got knocked out over 2 legs. In fact, I think we only played 1 leg at Old Trafford, didn't we, because of COVID. And then the FA Cup quarter-final, obviously Leicester City went on to win the FA Cup, knocked us out in the quarter-final. Again, a pretty poor performance in that one. So that was what we did in the competitions. That's what happened in the competitions. No trophies that season. And the closest we got was a penalty shootout in the Europa League. So that's kind of where we were last season. And actually, before we get into this, what would you rate last season? Let me know how you'd rate last season out of 10. Because I think that's a good indicator of, how people think we're going to do, especially when you can compare it to how people rated last season, and then we can see what you guys are saying for this season and then kind of just compare the two. So yeah, let me know how you would rate last season, just out of 10, nothing else. Just don't go too much into it. Out of 10, split decision, quick thought in your head. Out of 10, how would you rate last season? Let me know. Let's see. Apparently Vestergaard is off to Leicester. I think that's a decent signing for them, And the thing is with Southampton, actually, we were talking about it on Rich's stream. Make sure you check that out, of course. But we were talking about it, actually, and when we were doing the Premier League predictions, I was kind of thinking that Southampton would have enough to stay up, and I think they will just have enough to stay up, because I just think that there are 3 worse teams than Southampton in this league season. But if they do lose Ward-Prowse, and they're going to lose Vestergaard, they've already lost Bertrand and Danny Ings. It really isn't looking good for them right now. So, I mean, I was thinking that they'd have enough to stay up, but if they keep losing players like this, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. As Rich is pointing out, I totally agree with what Rich is saying. Adam's going third. I like that. I like that prediction. Obviously, I want it to be a little bit higher, of course. We want to go for the juggler this season. And he also says that Manchester United last season was a 6. So we've got one rating in, a 6. And I think that's fair enough. It's fair enough. Box says last season he would give it a 6.5 out of 10. So 6 and a 6.5. Probably around there is about right. I think around there is probably about right. I think, we didn't win any trophies, and to me that was the biggest thing. I think the fact that we didn't get any silverware, especially when we got into 2 very decent positions to potentially get silverware in the Carabao Cup semi-final and, of course, the Europa League final, losing on penalties. We got into 2 very, very good positions to potentially win silverware, and we kind of bottled it. And the fact that we actually got over that semi-final hoodoo and got to a final is obviously big for us, because we actually got over that hurdle. But we need to go one step further. And realistically, the way we played that game, we didn't deserve the Europa League. Villarreal were probably the better side over 120 minutes. And ultimately, on a penalty shootout, it's a lottery. But it didn't go our way. But in the end of the day, we should have won that game on paper, really. But obviously, football's not played on paper. But still, we had massive opportunities to win trophies and we weren't able to capitalise. And that was one of the main things that was a bit frustrating and really was a bit disappointing with that season. And this is what we need to do this season. That's the main thing I think we need to improve on, is the killer instincts. When we have an opportunity, we need to capitalise on it. Because especially with the quality of the teams in this league and also in the cup competitions, you don't get very many clear-cut opportunities to win titles. And we had a few last season, so we've got to take them. We really, really do. Let's see. Owen saying, last season was a 7 out of 10. No one thought we'd get second, but a few slack goals kept us from ending closer to City. I mean, in some ways, you could look at it like that and say, at one point, we were top. I think for about 2 Premier League game weeks, we were top of the Premier League. And again, if you'd said after we lost 6-1 to Spurs that we'd be top of the Premier League at some point, then I think, again, people would just be thinking you're an absolute madman. But we obviously, got to the top of the Premier League, and then we did start to fall a little bit. The 3-3 draw against Everton, the 2-1 defeat to Sheffield United at home. So, as we've talked about, there were opportunities within last season to really capitalise on the position we had, but unfortunately, we weren't able to capitalise on it. And eventually we finished second, which isn't the worst finish. Obviously, obviously people say, and I fully agree with it, that really, apart from winning the league, there is nothing else. Yeah, we got Champions League, but who cares about finishing second? You're just the first loser. You're just the first loser in the end of the day. So that's what we've got to do. We've got to capitalise when we get into those positions. Box says, me being negative, I'm saying first. Exactly, you've got to be positive, Box. We haven't even kicked the ball yet. But yeah, I see what you mean. But anyway, that was just kind of me getting a flavour for what you guys thought of last season. I would probably rate it about 6.5 out of 10 as well. We finished second, but in the cup competitions, we didn't capitalise where we could. We had Leicester in the quarter-final of the FA Cup. You get past Leicester, and then it starts to open up a little bit. Yes, obviously, they had to get past. Was it Man City in the final of the FA Cup, or am I just completely? I've completely lost it. But yeah, obviously Leicester, had that opportunity, and they obviously went on to win it. And we again, it's another one on paper. We should have won the FA Cup last year if we actually capitalised. And unfortunately, Leicester turned up and played a really good game. You have to give credit to them. But in the end of the day, again, another opportunity where we could have capitalised. And if we put in a decent team performance without the errors that we had, we could have gone through on that day. And then who knows? You get to the semi-final, only 2 more games from glory. You never know. You really do never know. So it's one of those things. It really is one of those things. Chelsea, of course, they beat Chelsea in the final of the FA Cup. So again, you've got to capitalise on those. But yeah, 6.57 out of 10 is where it looks like people are saying how they would rate last season, which is very interesting. Obviously, it's got to be higher than that this season. It's got to be higher than that, especially with the investment that we've had. But I think it's interesting. I think it's very, very interesting. Box is saying, if we sign a DM, I'd feel very confident going for the title. I think that's how a lot of people are feeling right now, Box. I think that's really hitting it on the head, because it's kind of how I feel as well. Because you look at Sancho and you look at Varane, I think they're brilliant signings. I think they do address positions that we needed to address. But I think most people look at that CDM position as the major priority. And we've got a good attacking force, especially if a fully fit Rashford comes back, or when a fully fit Rashford comes back. Hopefully he can be back to his best. You've got, Greenwood, who can be lethal, Sancho up there as well. Cavani's going to come to the party. Our attack looks very, very strong. Defensively as well looks very, very strong. Obviously, you've still got that question mark over Aaron Wan-Bissaka. His positioning is going to come into question, and how well he can defend within the unit of the back four. One-on-one defending, he's very, very good. But within the unit of the back four, his positioning can be found out a little bit. So, apart from that, we look pretty strong in defence and in attack. That midfield area, especially the defensive midfield area, is where we need to look at. And I think if we do bring in a quality CDM, there is no doubt we can challenge for this league title. And really, we should be challenging for this league title. But I agree with you. I think you hit the nail on the head. Red Devil Studio G, thanks for joining. Great to have you, mate. Appreciate it. great to have you. Make sure you check out his channel. Brilliant stuff on there. And I'm sure he'll be providing some excellent content as per usual throughout the season. So make sure you do check out his channel if you haven't already. Brilliant stuff over there. And Mo's joined us as well. Thanks for joining us, Mo. He says, trophy or nothing. I'll take anything. McDonald's Cup, I don't care. Well, I'll tell you what, Leicester was celebrating that pretty hard when they won it. Man City 1-0, Chelsea 1-0. There's something about Leicester winning 1-0 at Wembley. They love it. But 2 bits of silverware, technically. I know some people don't count it as silverware, but 2 bits of silverware for Leicester. You know, fair play to them. If only they could just not bottle top 4, they'd be a brilliant club. But listen, enough about Leicester. We're going to get straight into the season preview. And the first topic we're going to talk about is who we think will be the standout performer for Manchester United this season, and who needs to be a standout performer. In other words, who has to have a brilliant season for Manchester United to get their hands on number 21. Now, I'm sure you guys have got a lot of opinions on who you think will be the standout performer. Obviously, it goes without saying that we want everyone to step up, but I want your predictions in the live chat. Who you guys think will be the standout performer this season? Will it be one of the new signings? Will it be Jadon Sancho on his return to Manchester? The better side of Manchester, of course, coming in that right wing spot. And, you know, will he light up the Premier League? Will he show everyone what he can do? Will it be Raphael Varane? Will it be Harry Maguire? Will it be one of those two to have a blockbuster season similar to the Van Dijk season where Liverpool won the Premier League? Will it be that? Who knows? Let me know your thoughts. Bruno Fernandes, of course, he had a very good season stats-wise last season. Will it be him to have another great season for Manchester United? Who will be our player of the year come the end of the year? That's what I want to ask you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the live chat. Adam says, Kieran, I think that Rashford is a huge loss. I think he is. And I think, you know, a fully fit Rashford is a very, very good option. However, I do think because we now have Jadon Sancho, it gives us an extra option, which means that, you know, if we didn't have Sancho and Rashford was injured, we'd be looking at Greenwood and Martial, and with Cavani, who obviously can't play against Leeds, but will be coming back into the party. So, you know, it wouldn't be the worst situation, but it would be a lot worse considering Martial's form. I'm really hoping that this is the season when we really see the best of Anthony Martial. I'm not sure. I don't hold out too much faith, but I'm hoping. I really am hoping that he can have a good season for us. But with Jadon Sancho in there, it does help us a lot, especially with Rashford out. So I don't think he's going to be as big of a miss if we didn't have Jadon Sancho. Box says, I think next summer we could see the final jigsaw pieces of the puzzle, i.e. Haaland, Rice, for example. Could see players leaving as their deals run out. Pogba, Mata, Cavani, Lingard, Matic, Pereira. Yeah, I mean, we have to shift some players. We haven't actually shifted any of the players. Even though we are bringing in players, we need to start shifting them. TTX, thanks for joining. Appreciate it, mate. Always good to hear from you, friend. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. He says, Champions League winners 21-22. Mark my words. I love it. I absolutely love it, TTX. I hope you're right. And also Dazza, thanks for joining. Dazza, appreciate it. Make sure you check out his Blackpool vlog. Went to support, obviously, Borough going to Blackpool away. Unfortunate about the result, but hope it was a good day out for you. Make sure to check out Daz's vlog. Brilliant stuff on his channel. He says, good moaning. I'm currently in the car coming back from Borough, so won't be on long. United will finish second for me. Yeah, we made good signings, just not good enough to win the league. And I think that's a fair point. I think it is a fair point. Listen, you know, in the end of the day, even though we have made those 2 signings, I don't think we are the finished article just yet. But I think that CDM position, if we can really address that, I think we're looking good. I don't see on our best 11, really, and we'll get into what our best 11 is in due course, but I don't really see where we're weak. I really don't. If we bring in a world-class CDM, I don't think we have too many weaknesses. I really don't. Maybe I'm being a little bit naive. Maybe I'm being a little bit too confident. But anyway, let's see your answers for the question, who will be the standout player. Does it go to Shaw or Varane maybe? So one of the new signings. I would love it to be Varane. I really would. Mo says, really think Wan-Bissaka will step up this season. Well, tell you what, he can't get any worse from his pre-season performances, but I really hope he does step up this season. But yeah, Wan-Bissaka is a good shout. Adam saying Jadon Sancho, I think that'll be a popular one as well. He says he'll show Foden levels. Well, interesting. I tell you what, He doesn't have to perform too well to go past how badly Foden played in the Euros, especially with that haircut. But I hope Sancho does show Foden levels. I really, really do. And he could. But I think Foden's actually missing the first 3 Premier League games due to injury, so Sancho will have that over him, at least. Let's see. Adam is saying that he thinks we're going to challenge for the league and win a trophy semi-final of the Champions League. I'll tell you what, right now I'd probably take semi-final. With the strength of some of the teams in that Champions League, I'd probably take semi-final, but you want to go all the way. Rich is saying Pogba. Pogba is a shout, good shout. He needs to step up, really. I think there's a lot of rumours about him potentially leaving the club, although I think those have died down, especially after Messi has joined PSG. So Pogba's another great shout. I think Pogba, we've given him all the players around him now, especially if we get a class CDM. He has absolutely no excuse. He's got quality players wherever he looks. And even behind him, he's got his mate Varane, Maguire, Shaw, some brilliant players behind him. If we bring in that CDM, I can't see the excuse anymore. I don't think you can use the excuse of he hasn't got good players around him. I really, really don't. But I hope he plays well. I really, really do. I keep saying really, really twice. Let's see. TTX says, I'll be 60 years old with 4 kids by the time Varane is announced. Shake my head. This club is a joke. Yeah, I know. I mean, at the end of the day, he signed the contract according to reports. So he's a Manchester United, about all the media nonsense that goes around it, like the announcement video. But as long as he signed the contract, he for the game. But I don't think he's going to play. I don't think Olly's going to start Varane, which may disappoint you, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Mo says, it's crazy how Chelsea winning Champions League gives any team in it hope to win. Exactly. It's all about if you can build momentum, and Chelsea obviously had that momentum. They played well in spells and they got through it. And in the end of the day, this is what happens in these sort of competitions. It's not about who is the best overall sometimes. It's about who's the best on the day. And I know there's 2-legged ties, but if you have a bad first leg but a very good second leg, you can still make it through. So it's all about who turns up when it matters, and Chelsea did. Matthew, thanks for the comment. He says, well, look who finally remembered their YouTube password. Joke's on you, I don't actually have to use my YouTube password to log in, so that one fell flat. But thanks for joining, mate, appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, that was just a little bit of a topic to discuss. For me, the standout player will be Harry Maguire, the captain of Manchester United. I'm predicting that our player of the season will be Harry Maguire. A lot of people have been talking rubbish about him, talking about his price tag, but this year, especially after the Euros he's just had, he's going to come back for Manchester United and be our player of the season. I really, really do believe that. So Harry Maguire, player of the season for me. The next one we want to talk about is what is our best starting 11? What is our best 11? Because a lot of people last season were thinking that Ollie didn't really know his best 11. There are a few chops and changes going round. He would often play McTominay and Fred, which would really strongly suggest that he didn't know his best 11. But I want you guys to let us know in the live chat and also in the comment section below if you're watching as a video. What do you think our strongest starting 11 is? Bearing in mind that Sancho and Varane have both signed. Obviously, we don't know whether we're going to sign a CDM. But as of this very moment, what is our strongest 11? What would you play in the Champions League final if it was happening tomorrow and all those players were available? Who would you play? Let us know in the live chat. I think obviously both signings get in there. They're kind of both a given. And I think there's most players are, kind of put themselves in. Most players put themselves in. Obviously, again, it's one of those things where, we don't really know what our best 11 is going to be until we've played a few games. Because in the end of the day, you don't know who's going to perform well throughout the course of the season. Obviously, this is just a prediction. But what do you think is going to be our best 11? Not what Ollie is going to pick, but what do you think? Who would you pick? Who would you pick if you were a Manchester United manager? Owen said Chelsea still haven't beaten Ollie, though, have they? Oh yeah, of course. Chelsea, still doesn't matter if it's Frank Lampard or Thomas Tuchel, haven't beaten Manchester United. But who knows? That might change this season. I hope it doesn't, but who knows? TTX says the defence is solid for at least 3 seasons now. We just need a CDM and we can challenge for the Champions League. Hey, I totally agree. If we get a CDM in, we're looking pretty hot. We're looking pretty good. It's just funny how all the teams who are seen as better than us have a crap record against us. It's weird. It's weird that, isn't it? Box says, on paper, there's only 7 certainties. Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Varane, Shaw, Fernandes, Cavani and Sancho. I would argue Pogba potentially is a certainty as well. You could potentially throw Pogba in there, although I guess, again, you don't know whether Pogba's going to be staying. That's the thing, the goalkeeper situation still hasn't been sorted out either, so we still obviously don't know who's going to be starting. De Gea, obviously, De Gea is going to start against Leeds because Henderson's out, but throughout the course of the season, we don't know what the plan is. But I think the fact that De Gea is going to play these first few games will give him a big advantage. It's kind of similar to when De Gea obviously went off for leave because his girlfriend was having a baby. Henderson came in, and then since that point, he basically played the rest of the Premier League season. So that could easily happen with De Gea, is that when Henderson comes back, he might not automatically take De Gea's place unless De Gea hasn't been playing well at all. But yeah, the goalkeeper situation is a really interesting one for me. Boxall said he'd pick Henderson, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Maguire, Shaw, Matic, Van der Beek, Fernandes, Greenwood, Cavani and Sancho. As I said, if you look at that, front 5 or front 4 there of Fernandes, Greenwood, Cavani and Sancho, on paper it's one of the best in the league. I mean, even though Greenwood's still pretty young, you look at it and the names in that front 4 are scary. They really, really are. And a lot of people are looking at Matic and Van der Beek to start the season. I don't think that's what Olly's going to do, but as I said, I did tell you to predict what you would want to do if you were Manchester United manager. So, yeah, I think a lot of people are looking at Matic and Van der Beek to start in that pivot. Who knows, though? Who knows? I think he will look to play Pogba, but I think it is a big season for Van der Beek. I really, really do think this is going to be a big season for Donny Van der Beek. But I think that's a good lineup. Obviously, Henderson in goal there without De Gea. I think there are some people still saying that David De Gea is number 1 at Manchester United, and I do think David De Gea is still number 1. I think he's probably still ahead of Dean Henderson, or should be ahead of Dean Henderson in the pecking order. But I still think that Henderson will be the long-term solution. So the more we can blood him in, the better. But I think, in my mind, De Gea is still number 1 in the pecking order. But obviously you bring in Tom Heaton to that equation as well. We've got 3 very decent goalkeepers. 3 very decent goalkeepers. So if we do get an injury, we won't be floundering, unlike some teams. His subs: De Gea, Lindelof, Fred, Pogba, Martial and Rashford. That's what you call depth. Having Pogba, Martial and Rashford to bring on every single game. That is depth beyond belief. I mean, defensively, Lindelof's alright depth, but not as good as the forward players. Those 3, Pogba, Martial, Rashford. If we're struggling in a game and we can bring on those 3, we're looking very, very good, I'm telling you. So yeah, as I said, if you guys have got any thoughts as well on your best starting 11, who would you pick as the best starting 11 going into the season with the Leeds game only a couple of days away now? Who would you start? Matthew says Heaton is better than Henderson, to be honest. Well, that's going to throw a chicken amongst a pigeon. No, a pigeon amongst. Right, he's going to throw a cat amongst the pigeons. You can tell. Can you tell I've been away for 3 weeks? But yeah, I think Heaton. To be fair, when he played for Aston Villa, he looked very, very good. He looked very, very good indeed. Obviously, Nick Pope kind of took his limelight a little bit, but he looked very, very good. And he obviously, whenever he came to Old Trafford, always used to cause us problems. So if he could just do that in reverse, that would be quality. That would be absolute quality. He's kind of in that Ben Foster category, I think, where as a goalkeeper all round, he's not a standout goalkeeper, but when he turns up to Old Trafford and when he plays a top 6 club in general, he just pulls out an absolute worldy performance. TTX is saying, I think that left wing spot is Pogba's unless we get a DM, which looks like McFred for another season. Yeah, it is looking that way. Obviously, the transfer window is ticking away. The time left in the transfer window is ticking down. It's dwindling. It really is dwindling. But you never know. There's have been some reports that United are looking at a third signing. So let's hope and pray that it's a CDM. Let's hope and pray it is. Box says, that will throw the chickens amongst the pigeons. Exactly, yeah. That's a saying, isn't it? That's a saying. Owen says, can't believe you're allowing admins to comment such rubbish. To be on, sack him or I'm off, mate. That simple. Well, I mean, to be honest with you, you don't get to make that decision. And there's a reason why he's an admin and you're not. That's all I'm going to say. Matthew says, not sure I can suffer through another season of McFred. I mean, to be fair, I think McTominay, to be fair, actually isn't too bad. I think out of the two, I would probably have McTominay. Out of McTominay and Fred, I'd probably have McTominay. Rich said, Matthew, not a Hendo fan. Yeah, evidently not a Hendo fan, Rich. And there are too many answers to that question. There are really too many answers to that question. But yeah, let's move on to the next topic. As you can tell, on Red Door Weekly this season, we've got a little bit more structure. Can you believe it? It's not just me, waffling to a camera. Well, it basically is. But we have got a little bit more structure. The second to last thing, actually, the penultimate question I want to ask you guys is, how are we going to do in these cup competitions, ladies and gentlemen? Are we going to get our hands on a bit of silverware? And Mo was saying earlier in the stream that it's trophy or nothing for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I think a lot of United fans are getting down to that point where this is the time, we've spent the money, we need to see a bit of end product. This is the start of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's third full season at Manchester United. We need to see some dividends now. We need to see some dividends, and I think we will. I think we got very, very close last season on a couple of occasions, but we need to capitalise on those chances when we get them. We can't keep falling at the semi-final hurdle. We need to make hay when the sun shines. So, with that in mind, we're going to go through the cup competitions, and I want you guys to let me know in the live chat. In fact, just put a message with the 3 different cup competitions and where you think we'll place in those competitions. And the best one to start is the Champions League. Very, very difficult. Obviously, we're in pot 2, so we're going to miss out on a lot of the big teams in the group stage. But we could potentially still be drawn at Munich. I'll have to check the pots. You guys, of course, will know. But we'll miss out on quite a few of the big teams. But we will be able to be drawn against some decent teams. So as long as we avoid them, I think we'll make it through the group stages. For me, I think if we can make it to the semi-final, I think we've had a fair. I don't expect this team to go on and win the Champions League. I would love it. I really, really would love it if we could. I don't expect this team to do that, but I want to see a good run. I don't want us to get knocked out because of a goal by a Liverpool reject, 39-year-old cart horse, former Liverpool player. I don't want that, or a former Chelsea player. I don't want that to happen. I really do not want that to happen. So, in the end of the day, semi-final of the Champions League, for me, I would say fair enough. If you get to the semi-final and get knocked out by the better side, you've had a fairly decent run. I want to get to the final, though. And as I said, we need to capitalise on these opportunities. But if we get to the semi-final, that would be very, very good for me. In terms of the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, I want to win at least one of these trophies. And the past few seasons, we've got ourselves into pretty decent positions. We have. And we just haven't been able to capitalise on that. We've kind of fallen either at the quarter-final or the semi-final stage. But I really do think it's there for us. If we take them seriously, if we don't just rest players in these cup competitions, even though at some point in the season we might need to, we can win one of these competitions. And I think for Ollie's sake, we have to get hands on silverware this season. We have to. I think if we don't, and we have a bad Premier League season, I think Ollie's time is dwindling at the club. I think Ollie will not make it to next season if we don't have a piece of silverware and we don't have a good league season. I think he's struggling because you can't deny now, if you look at that squad, a lot of those players starting in that squad are his players. Bruno Fernandes, Harry Maguire, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, potentially Dean Henderson. You got Sancho now, Varane. A lot of those players are his signings. So we've got to get something out of it this season. We really, really do. Let's read a few comments. So I think we'll win. The FA Cup. That's my prediction. FA Cup. I think we'll get to the semi-final of the Carabao Cup again and get knocked out. And I think we will get to the semi-final of the Champions League. But just one trophy. I think will be enough for Solskjaer to keep his job. Yeah, I know. I don't know why he's still up. I mean, fair play to him. I'm sure he's dropping off wherever he is. Matthew says, he's probably better than Heaton in fairness, but I do think there's a lot of hype around that I just don't see. Well, there you go. There's Matthew. There's Matthew's opinion. We'll leave that lingering in the air for anyone who wants to comment on it. Owen says, Kieran wants to censor my opinions because they're anti-Glazer. We're not going to go through this again. I've been through this too many times. I don't eat out of the Glazer's hand. You know, I make my own money, which is not a lot, but I'm not financed by anyone. You know, I don't have Malcolm Glazer on speed dial. Let's just can that in now. We'll can that in before the start of the season. I don't want to see any more comments saying I'm a Glazer sympathiser or saying I work for the Glazers. Here we go. We put that to bed. Box says, what would get Ollie sacked? I think if we had a bad league season and we didn't win a trophy, because as I'm saying, you know, a lot of these players are now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's players, especially if we bring in a CDM. If we bring in a CDM, most of this team is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's, barring, you know, maybe 2 or 3. But we have backed Solskjaer, let's be honest. If we do get that CDM, we back Solskjaer pretty well. There are a few gaps here and there, but we have backed him relatively well. So for me, we want to see some silverware, and yeah, I really hope we get it, and I think we will. I genuinely do think we'll win at least one of the Champions League, Carabao Cup, or FA Cup. This is it. I'm being positive, maybe being ridiculously optimistic, but I think we will. And for hope, he's lifting at least one trophy, at least one, because I think he deserves it. TTX says, seeing a lot of people still buy shirts yet the Glazers out, some fans really are confusing. Yeah, I mean, I think the people that buy it straight from the mega store, I don't really get that. But I think there are some people who are buying it from third-party sellers. But I don't know how that works. I don't know whether they actually get money or anything, or whether how the money funnels back to the Glazers. I don't really know how that goes on. But yeah, I've seen a lot of people buying shirts, and to be honest with you, people are going to do what they're going to do, you know. I'm not going to, you know, get involved in that really. I haven't bought any shirts, mainly because I can't really afford them, and I don't have the money to be spending on kits. But also, I guess, because, you know, I don't really want to be funding that sort of side of things. But at the end of the day, people are going to do what they're going to do, you know. People are going to do what they're going to do. Owen is saying he predicts a Prem. He's going to win the Prem. We're going to lose in the final of the Champions League. Get to the semi-final of the FA Cup and get to the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. So we're going to win the league. Hey, there you go. So basically, the fact that Owen said it, though, basically means it's not going to happen. So that's done and dusted. Congratulations, Man City, on another Premier League title. Because I can't believe what Owen's saying. But I hope so. I hope he's right. To be fair, he did predict that we'd finish second last season, and we did finish second, so maybe he's onto something. Maybe he knows something that we don't, although I highly doubt it. Box says we need an easier group than we've had previously, and I think we will get that. You know, we're in pot 2. I think we could potentially get a hard team from that pot 1, but actually we're missing out on quite a few difficult teams this time around. Matthew says, personally, I would still keep Ollie if we win nothing this season, but I understand why a lot would want him to go. Yeah, I think a lot of people want to see dividends now. A lot of people want to see dividends from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and this Man United team that's been backed very heavily. Owen says, why we don't win anything. Oh, right, so Owen, I guess you're an Ollie outer as well, looking at that comment. Rich says he doubts Ollie's going anywhere. I mean, the fact that he did sign that contract and the fact the Glazers are backing him does suggest that he might not be going anywhere. They might actually be looking at a long-term project, and I want to see some stability. But at the same time, you want to see the right guy for the job. So I hope this season Ollie can prove that he is the right guy for the job, because he has got a lot of naysayers. I'm telling you now, if we start this season poorly, there will be a lot of people on his back, especially with the money we spent. Owen says, you do treat your subs well, don't you? I treat them very well. I treat them very well, I think. I treat them very, very well. Box says, with Ahmad set to go out on loan, Rafa Varane would now be edging towards taking Man United's number 19 shirt. Yeah, I mean, let me know what you guys think of Amad Diallo going out on loan. I think it's an interesting decision. I think in the long run it'll probably be the right decision, especially if Ollie isn't looking to start him in too many games. I think the best thing for these young players is the game time. Pellistri obviously went back to Alves, and I'm hoping he can show some of the form that he did in pre-season, because he looked electric in pre-season. I've got to say, he looked very, very good. So if he can just get as much game time as possible, keep applying his trade, I think that's a good move for him. And I think if Ahmad does go on loan, I think again that's a good move for him. Even though I think he looked very, very good, I think he looked a bit more advanced than Pellistri. I still think a loan move would probably be the best thing, especially if he's not going to get the game time here. TCX says, Box, is there anything on the announcement time or date? Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with the Varane thing. Obviously, he's signed, sealed, delivered, I think. Apparently, he took part in training. So, I'm not worried. I'm really not. Owen says, I'm not on Ollie outer, but allowing him to stay without progress or a trophy is not the right mentality. I believe we will win. I believe we will achieve with him. I hope you're right. Again, I hope you're right. And Box says, long run, I agree. Good to get loans for Pellistri, Ahmad, Mesri, Ghana, etc. Exactly. You've got to get them to game time. But the final topic we're going to move on to, we've talked about the cup competitions. We've talked about what is our best 11. And we've talked about who will be the standout performer. Who will be our player of the season come the end of the season. We've all given our predictions. The final thing I want you my predictions on is, where do you think we will finish after 38 gruelling Premier League fixtures? Where do you think Manchester United will finish? Will we be in a title challenge? Will we be struggling for top 4? Will we win the title? Will the 21st top flight title for Manchester United finally happen, and under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Let me know your thoughts. For me, I'm positive, and I think we can win the league. At the same time, realistically, Man City look very, very strong. Chelsea looks strong as well. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very, very difficult. But if we get that CDM, and it's a bit of a caveat, but if we get that CDM, I think we're in a very, very good position. To at least give a strong challenge. And I know some people will be saying we should be doing, but I think a lot of people on the streams I've been part of and have been glad to be a part of, a lot of people have been saying that the expectation is at least the title challenge in the league. And I agree. I've posed about a 2-week title challenge to Manchester City, and then we faded away. We need it to be longer than that. We need it to happen for a prolonged period of time, where come March, April, people are still saying United are fighting for this title. And as I said, I think we can do that. As long as we're lucky with injuries, as long as we, hit the ground running, get off to a good start, I think we can do that. But it's all about the caveats, and it's all about those things going right for us. And to win a title, you need luck. You need things to go for you at the right time. And if we can get those lucky breaks, if we can play good football, if the new signings can bed in straight away and hit the ground running, we could have a very, very good season this season. I truly believe that. Let me know your thoughts. Adam's saying, Kieran, I'm watching this and Space Jam at the same time. Well, hopefully you're enjoying Space Jam. Let me know which one's the least boring. I've got an idea which one it is. But I've heard Space Jam. I've heard some decent things. I've heard some not so decent things. So let me know if you enjoy that. Box says champions. Box is looking for the crown jewels, and I'm hoping you're right, mate. It's been too long. Was it 8 seasons without a title? This year, 8 seasons without a title. It's too long, man. It's too long. But I think this is the best chance we've had, and I feel like I've said that in the past, but I think this is the best chance we've ever had of potentially securing a Premier League title. I know the competition is going to be difficult. I know it is, but we're looking at what we're going to fear, what we've got to fear from other teams. But I think other teams need to be looking at us. Bruno Fernandes, Jadon Sancho, Paul Pogba, Edinson Cavani, Martial, Rashford, Greenwood. We are a force to be reckoned with. Make no mistake about that. We are a force to be reckoned with. So, hey, I'd love for people to doubt us. For me, the best thing is people doubting you. Hey, the door never ignored. It's pretty well the motto of Manchester United. And we know all too well. Solskjaer and this team, under Solskjaer in particular, have been doubted quite a few times. So I think that's what they prefer. I actually think they prefer people to kind of not give them the spotlight too much and not really, think they're going to win everything. I think there's a lot of people who, I think those players would rather not have that pressure. But at the same time, if we do get into that top spot, there will be a lot of pressure put on this team. And they've got to get through it. And unfortunately in the Europa League we didn't do it. But I really do believe that this time, and I don't want to sound like Liverpool saying this year will be our year, because I know that turned into a bit of a meme where Liverpool fans did that every single bloody season. But I just feel like this is our best chance. It's our best chance, realistically. Connor, good to see you, mate. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. He says, 21 is coming to Old Trafford. Fuck everyone else. Incoming. United's double. I hope you're right, mate. I hope you're right. I love the enthusiasm. I hope you're right. And as I said, it's our best chance. I think, especially if we can bring in a CDM, we are looking very, very good. Our squad is looking very, very good. Rich is saying, apparently Roma want Matic. In some ways, I can believe that. Jose Mourinho, of course, the manager of Roma, put 2 and 2 together. It seems like a match made in heaven, to be fair. But the good news would be, is if we get rid of Matic, it opens the door. It opens the door. So, watch that space, I guess. Watch that space. If he does go back to Roma, plays with Jose Mourinho, which I think is probably a good place for him. If he really isn't going to get the game time, and Mourinho does rate him that highly, I don't think it'd be a bad move for him. And it might just be a perfect move for us. Connor's going the other direction. He says, Roma can fuck off, Matic should stay. I mean, to be fair, with the options we have, I don't think it'd be the worst thing for him to stay. But what if Matic was to leave, and then we could use that money to get a better CDM? I'm just putting that to you. I'll drop that one into you. Because you say, I don't know how much you get for Matic. Maybe, 10 million quid for Nemanja Matic? 10, 15 million. Jose Mourinho can have Matic. They can do what they want. I think it's a match made in heaven. But we can use that money towards a CDM. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I really, really don't. Even though Matic played well with Van der Beek, I don't think Ollie's going to use that pivot. I know a lot of people are suggesting that might happen, but I just don't see it. I really, really don't. Box is saying, I heard Ghana rejected a contract. I mean, he's still young. He's still young. I don't know. I feel like he will eventually sign that contract. But he did well at Forest. He did do well at Forest. So maybe he's looking for that game time. And again, I can completely understand it. He's a young player. Did very well at Nottingham Forest. These young players need game time. There's no point in them sitting and wasting away on the subs bench. There is absolutely no point in that. Absolutely no point. Only way I want if we bring someone in. Yeah, that's how it has to be. That's how it has to be. We need to be able to bring somebody in because we're light on the options already. If we get rid of a Matic, we're looking at Fred and McTominay, and then if they get injured, we've literally got no one. We'd have to change formation, which secretly wouldn't be the worst thing, but for Ollie, it would be a massive headache. So we need that depth. We need the depth as much as possible. And Connor says, can we please sell Bailly and Fred? Use that money for Neves and Ginter. Well, Ginter's an interesting one. Interesting shout. But Neves is someone who I've heard United have been linked to. A lot of people have been linking us with Ruben Neves. And I don't think, again, that would be the worst signing in the world. I really, really don't. If you had a midfield of Neves, Fernandes and Pogba, or even Van der Beek, Fernandes and Neves, very, very progressive, I would say. I don't think there's many players in there that can do the defensive work, but it's very, very progressive and in the right direction, I would say. But I still think we do need a CDM that can do the dirty work. Obviously, it'd be good if they can play out from the back, or not play out from the back, but just connect the midfield with the forward line and the defence with the midfield, because I think that's their main job. But I think the best thing for a CDM to do is to break up play. Look at someone like N'Golo Kante. I wouldn't say he's necessarily amazing when it comes to build-up play. I wouldn't say he's necessarily amazing when it comes to playing in forwards. But he breaks up play like nobody else in the game today, and that's why a lot of people were clamouring for him to get the Ballon d'Or. So I think when you have someone in that position, they have to do their main job very, very well, and that is breaking up the play and helping the back four. And I think with a better defence, you could argue that we might not need as much of a defensive midfielder. That's another argument to be had. Box says, lol, Connor, that would take 3 months of talks, 2 months of negotiating, and 1 month for a medical. I mean, the way they're going about this Varane deal. Connor says, Borussia Mönchengladbach are in the selling phase, could swoop in for Ginter and Zakaria for 55 million combined. Yeah, wouldn't be the worst bit of business. Would not be the worst bit of business. As I said, if we can get in that CDM, we'll be in a very, very good position. Don't you worry about that. A very, very good position. But we've gone through all the prediction points, really, all the points I had. So if you guys got any last questions before we wrap up the stream, let me know. Any last debate points, any comments you want to make at all about Manchester United, about anything in general. This is like the last 10 crazy minutes of the stream and we just talk about anything. So please do let me know in the live chat if you've got anything to say whatsoever. Any comments, any views. If you want to subscribe as well, if you haven't already, if you are watching, please do hit that subscribe button. We're eking towards 900 subscribers, so anything you guys can do to help us out with that would be absolutely fantastic. But it should be a good season. I think it's shaping up to be a very, very good season. If we can get that CDM in, we're looking good. We are looking good, ladies and gentlemen. My prediction is I think we will finish second. I don't think we'll finish top. Owen obviously said we were going to finish top, and again, read into that what you will. But I think second and a good title challenge is what I'm expecting, at least. Obviously, we want to win it all. We want to win it all. And I think with the squad, especially if we bring in a CDM, there's no reason why we can't do that. But for me, I just think, in terms of expectations, second and a second and a decent title challenge, as well as a bit of silverware. And I think you have to look back and say it's not been too bad. It's not been too bad. Connor says Haaland and Neves or Kane and Camavinga. Mate, for me, Harry Kane is a guaranteed 20-25 goals in the Premier League. So regardless of Haaland or Neves, I'm going to have to go Harry Kane. I've got to go Harry Kane. He is the dream signing, realistically, with what he provides. And Camavinga, he'll be good for at least another 15 years. So I'd have to go with Kane and Camavinga on that one, even though I reckon that would cost a lot more. If I had to pick, it would be those two. Box says top goal scorer for the season. Who will ultimately keep a spot? 2 questions that you guys can answer in the live chat. For me, I'm going to say Bruno Fernandes, top goal scorer. I think the fact he takes all our penalties, and he looked pretty decent with the free kick he scored against Everton. He looks in the mood, but I'm going to say Bruno Fernandes again. And then the goalkeeper spot, I think ultimately Henderson will claim the spot. But I think right now, David De Gea is probably the first choice for me. So I'm going to say, on those 2 questions, I'm going to say Bruno Fernandes again, and I'm going to say Dean Henderson in the long run. Let us know in the live chat what you think. Let us know in the live chat what you think about that. Connor says Henderson, I think, will claim top spot in the end. Top scorer will be Bruno or Rashford. I think it's a good shout, Connor. I really, really do. He also says a healthy and fully fit Rashford is so incredibly dangerous. We've seen how good he can be, mate. We've seen how good he can be, and rest assured, he will be very, very good. He will be. I'm no doubt about it. When Rashford comes back from injury, we'll be looking at a very, very good player, because he'll know that towards the end of last season, he didn't play his best football in the Euros. He didn't play his best football. He will know he needs to get back to his best, and he will know how good he can be at his best. So a hungry Marcus Rashford is one that you don't want to face. Rich is agreeing with me. Bruno, top goal scorer. So a lot of shouts to Bruno Fernandes, it looks like. Box says, centre forward wise, they're so hard to come by. I think getting Haaland would sort us out for years. True, I think obviously Haaland's got more of the longevity and probably less of the injury prone factor that Kane brings, because Kane has glass ankles. He always gets injured at least once a season, but you can't turn down 25 Premier League goals a season. You just can't. You just can't. And Connor says, better bargain signing, Rashica for Norwich or Willock for Newcastle. Interesting. Very, very interesting, that one, actually. I think Willock is a good signing for Newcastle. He played pretty well for them. And I think Rashica, though, Rashica looks a player. He does look a very, very good player. I think Norwich have got a good player there. I'm going to go with Willock, I'm going to go with Willock, but I think Rashica could surprise quite a few people, I really do. But I still think Norwich are going to struggle, but I think not get relegated, he's going to be a big part of it. Boxes, Willock has a proven Premier League pedigree. Yep, that obviously does, make a big difference, especially with how difficult it is to adapt to the Premier League. A lot of people find it difficult. So, yeah, I think the proven Premier League pedigree is massive at this stage. So, yeah, I'd probably go with Willock. But I'm probably going to end it there, guys. I'm probably going to end the stream there. We've previewed the season. I might do a Leeds preview tomorrow as well, because we didn't really get into the Leeds game. So I'm just going to... This was really just a season preview, just to kind of look at the season as a whole. So tomorrow, in some capacity, whether it's a video or a live stream, I will be doing a Leeds United preview. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss when that goes live. Hit that subscribe button. Hopefully, we have a great season on this channel and you enjoy it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm so looking forward to this season. It's going to be a belter of Premier League season, not just from a Man United point of view, but from a football fan's point of view. This is really shaping up to be a fantastic Premier League season. So much quality in the league right now. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'll do the Leeds preview tomorrow, so make sure you stay locked in for that. But thanks for watching. I've been Kieran from Red Devil Weekly. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel as well if you are new around here. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below if you're watching on the replay. Thank you very much for doing it, and thank you very much for getting this far as well. Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. But until we meet again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.